This is an adaptation of Little Red Riding Hood from the Grimm brothers, as told from the point of view of the wolf. One day the wolf was patrolling his forest when he came across a young girl in a long red hooded cloak. She seemed to be carrying a basket of some sort. So, curiously, he asked her, "What are you doing, young girl?" She answered him, "Well, kind sir, I am going to my grandmother's house. She is very sick, and I am taking her these treats to make her well again." The wolf said, "Well, I know a shortcut through the woods. Would you like to see?" "Oh, no, sir," she replied. "I must stay on the path. My mother told me to." "Well, then you'd best be on your way. Stay in the sunlight. Do not stray." Now the wolf was cunning and smart. He knew he could make a tasty meal out of this young girl, and perhaps the grandmother as well. So he took the short-cut through the woods and came across the grandmother's house. He knocked on the door. "Who's there?" came a voice from the inside. "Little Red Riding Hood," the wolf replied. The grandmother slowly answered the door, and as soon as she opened it, the wolf struck and ate her, gobbled her up whole. The wolf, smart, put on her clothes and jumped into bed, knowing Little Red Riding Hood would soon appear. Not a moment later, Little Red Riding Hood knocked on the door. "Grandmother, it's me. Let me in." The wolf replied, "Come in, dear." Little Red Riding Hood said, "Oh, grandmother, what big ears you have, the better to hear you with, my dear." "Grandmother, what a big nose you have, the better to smell you with, my dear." "Grandmother, what big teeth you have, the better to eat you with, my dear." And the wolf struck, gobbling up Little Red Riding Hood. Now, that was quite a commotion, and the wolf felt very full and could not move from the bed. He had made quite a mess. But in all of this mess, and all of the commotion, and all of the loudness, somebody had heard him. A woodcutter. A woodcutter who often dropped off wood for the grandmother came by to check on her. "Grandmother, are you in?" The door was open. The wolf tried to hide under the bed, but with his enlarged belly, he couldn't. The wolf yelled out, "Go away!" trying best to intimidate the grandmother's voice. "You don't sound like yourself," the woodcutter replied. "Just had a bit too much to eat," the wolf replied. The woodcutter came in anyways and saw the blood and Little Red Riding Hood's torn cloak, and saw the wolf. And well, the wolf met his end that day. He was not so smart and cunning, but it was too late for grandmother and Little Red Riding Hood. It was their end as well as the wolf's.